You know, here we don't waste time most, we so much just get straight to the point, and today we're going to be talking about car buying mistakes again. This is part 3 of the car buying mistakes series, and I know I'm just wasting my time with teaching you these things because some people are still going to go out there and do their own things. Tato, Lindogutle, Tsep, you know yourselves. Siyabong, please don't disappoint me. The first mistake we're going to talk about today is rushing or not doing proper research, particularly if you are planning to buy a used car. I know I've mentioned this 1,000 times in my previous videos, but today I have a practical example. A couple of weeks back, I spotted this Gusheshe going for 120,900. I decided to keep an eye on it to see how long was it going to stay at the dealership. I closely monitored the car for about 2 to 3 weeks, and boom, the price dropped to 99,900. That's a whole 20,000 rands discount without even negotiating. And now I can come in and say my budget is 90,000 rands on the dot. They won't say no because they are now desperate to get rid of the car. Buying a car is not an exam, so you can't just cram the whole slabus in one night and pass. When you are planning to buy a car, don't wait until the last minute. You have to start shopping around early. If you want to buy a car in December, start visiting dealerships as early as October and try to negotiate deals just to have a feel of how things work. If even when you are ready to buy the car and you believe you have negotiated a good deal, you can still walk away from the deal, and if you are lucky, the dealership may run after you just to try to sweeten the deal. A friend of mine wanted to walk away from a Polo Vivo deal, and the dealership offered him a free service plan to sweeten the deal. The only way to win when dealing with dealers is to play mind games, and you may need a lot of time to do your thing properly. So start shopping around early. The second mistake is overstretching your budget. Ideally, you should not spend more than 20% of your net monthly income on car expenses. To work out what's 20% of your income, just take your salary and multiply it by 0.2. The number you'll get is what you should aim to spend on your car. Let's use someone who earns 20,000 as an example. 20,000 rands multiplied by 0.2 is 4,000 rands. So you must aim not to spend more than 4,000 rands on your car. Because if you subtract 4,000 rands from your 20,000 rands salary, you will be left with 16,000 rands. Now let's assume you pay 5,000 rands rent for your apartment. 16,000 minus 5,000 leaves you with 11,000. Then subtract maybe 3,000 for food and you will be left with 8,000. From the 8,000, you still have to pay other bills such as electricity, internet connectivity, Netflix, DSTV, and if you are black, you might have black tax. Having kids makes things worse, so let's not go there. Kamo, you have 7,000 girlfriends and you want to go out every weekend. Let's do the same thing for someone who earns 30,000 rands. 30,000 multiplied by 0.2 is 6,000, and you have to try not to spend more than that on a car. 30,000 minus 6,000 leaves you with 24,000 rands. In this case, let's assume you bought your own apartment and you pay 7,000 for your bond, plus an extra 1,000 rands for rates, taxes, levies or whatever. And that will leave you with just 16,000 rands. Almost half of your salary is gone just for transport and shelter. With the remaining half, you have to buy food, take your kids to school, pay black tax, medical aid, and you must still be left with some pocket money. Guys, the cost of living is too high, and I'm not suicidal or anything like that, but sometimes I ask myself, what's the point of this life thing if we have to pay 120 rands for 2 liters of cooking oil? Where I stay, if you pay 1,000 rands for electricity, you only get around 300 units. Do you guys know the pain of having to top up your electricity in the middle of the month? And I've realized that when you buy electricity twice in 1 month, on the second purchase you get less units compared to the first time, even when you pay the same amount. Then you find a person who only earns 20,000 rands a month buying a Polo R-Line just because he was told that he qualifies for it. For a Polo R-Line, you are looking at an installment of around 7,000 rands, plus 1,500 insurance, plus 2,000 rands for petrol. That's 10,000 rands plus, easy. And already more than half of your salary is gone, just for a piece of steel with 4 wheels, 1 liter engine and a VW badge. Let's move on before needing violence. But then if you click on my videos, you know exactly what you are gonna get. So askal. The next mistake is having a contradictory budget. You find a person saying, no, I don't want to spend more than 6,000 rands on my car, including insurance. But then they go shopping around for cars between 350 and 400,000 rands. My sister, the cars you are checking out don't correspond with the amount you are willing to spend per month. And that's how people end up with balloon payments that they are not aware of. If you are only prepared to spend 6,000 rands a month, including insurance, you should be shopping around for Pikachu, Eiger, Swift, or a used Polo. The next big mistake is listening to salesmen. Yes, we have to listen to them, but don't just rely on what they say, because those guys work for the dealership, so they don't have your best interest at heart. They are there to make money because they sell cars for a living. They are always under immense pressure to perform, and sometimes they are even pressured to sell cars even if there's no stock. Sometimes. How do you expect someone to sell cars when there's no cars? Salesmen actually go through a lot, and most of us here can't survive a day in the business of selling cars. But let's not go there because that's not my business. There's a white lady who got a job at a dealership I won't mention, worked for 1 week and resigned. There's no special treatment there. Whether you are black, white or pink, ziyakhala. I took an off-ramp and now I don't even remember what I wanted to say. Oh yes, listening to salesmen. The only time you should listen to salesmen is when you have hacked their minds, and I do that all the time. In football, players tend to move from one team to another, and if you are a former Orlando Pirates player, you will know all the horrible things that happened behind the scenes at Pirates, and you can use that information against them after leaving the team. The same thing happens with salesmen. They tend to move from dealership to dealership, and you often find that the guys who work at BMW previously worked for VW, Mazda and Toyota. So they know exactly what happens in all those dealerships, and if you are smart, you can easily extract that information from them. Sometimes I go to a dealership looking for a car and end up chilling there with the guys for more than 2 hours talking about cars, life, work, YouTube, and teach them how they can make money on the side with the cars they are selling. When I walk in, most of them don't take me seriously, but when I leave, they salute. So yeah, you must never rely on the information you get from salesmen, because those guys are under pressure to perform. You must go there armed with information. If it means you have to rewatch my videos while you're at the dealership, do that. The next mistake to avoid is brand loyalty and copycatism, if that's even a word. Brand loyalty must fall. If you feel that VW is losing the plot, stop being loyal to them, because those people don't even know who you are. Their business is just selling overpriced hatchbacks and crossovers. There's nothing special about your dream car. A car is just a car, and it ends there. If your favorite brand is selling overpriced cars, you'll live happily ever after. Then there's the issue of copycatism. Avoid copying what other people are doing without any sober reasoning. What works for me might not work for you. Just because there's a YouTube clown that bought a Suzuki Baleno, that doesn't mean you must also go buy a Baleno. I'm not an influencer. I want people to reason and make their decisions, not just do like I do. I'm not Quest. Assess your needs thoroughly before you buy a car. Don't just wake up and say, what's trending? Oh, Haval. I'm buying a Haval. The last mistake is buying a car at an auction when you don't really know much about auctions. According to me, buying a car at an auction is the second most risky way of buying a car. The most risky way is buying a car from a person, private sale. The most important thing to know if you are considering buying a car at an auction is that the cars are sold footstoots, meaning you take them as they are. So if there's anything wrong with the car you bought, you are on your own. Even if you can notice the problem while you are still at the auction house, once the deal is sealed, the car is your problem. To be on the safe side, you have to make arrangements to go view the cars with a professional mechanic prior to the auction day. The other issue is that at auctions you compete with big sharks who specialize in buying auction cars, and they can spot a road deal from miles away and they know where to draw the line. But when as mafundane, you may end up overbidding for a lemon. There's no point in buying a car from an auction if you're gonna end up spending the same amount of money you're gonna pay for that particular car at a dealership. So it is important to note that the price you offer during the bidding process doesn't include VAT and other relevant fees. However, if you are the highest bidder and the car is sold to you, you have to pay admin fee, commission and VAT. So if you got carried away trying to outbid sharks, the additional cost you'll have to pay over and above the hammer price will make you dizzy, and you will wish you so much just went to a dealership, because that way you have someone to blame when things go wrong. Not that they'll always assist, but at least you'll blame them. For me, that's better than just blaming yourself. Another thing is that if you're buying a car at an auction and you want to finance it, your financing must be sorted within 48 hours, otherwise the deal is off and you lose your deposit. You can get some really good deals at an auction if you know what you're doing, so research is very important and it all comes down to risk appetite. Mina personally, I don't have appetite for repossessed cars because the previous owner is still angry that his car got repossessed. Then when I go buy it, it's over. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more car content in a Mzansi context.